And you'll know very well the man I'm about to talk about. Hello there. Sir Martin Sorrell. He has resigned as the boss of the world's largest advertising agency. That company's called WPP. The announcement comes less than 2 weeks after the company said that he was being investigated for misconduct. Here, take a look at some of the details. Because 73-year-old Sir Martin had run the FTSE 100 company for 33 years since he took control. He bought a company, took control of a company called Wire and Plastic Products. And at that time, in the mid-80s, that company made plastic shopping baskets. Now, he has stepped down, as I mentioned, after this investigation into allegations of personal misconduct. Few details have been released, but WPP did say the allegation did not involve amounts that are material. Sir Martin denies any wrongdoing. Now, that plastics company, he built it into an advertising giant, employing over 200,000 people around the world. Last year, it made a profit of just over $3 billion, but the company's business model has certainly come under, well, fire due to the rise of online advertising. That's been reflected, certainly, in the share price, which has fallen about a third over the past year as the company really just struggles to compete with the digital rivals such as Google and Facebook. Let's get more. Julie Langley is a partner at Results International. That's a company which advises advertising firms on takeovers. Welcome, Julie. Great to see you. We'll talk about the digital challenge facing advertising agencies in a minute, but what went wrong here? Because there's been problems, haven't there, brewing with WPP for the last year or so.
Well, I think after 30 years of growth, actually, WPP has had some disappointing results over the last couple of years. The share price, as you said, is down. So there have been some headwinds that I think they haven't faced for quite some time.
Yeah, and I know shareholders have not been too happy. We look at him now, and I've interviewed him many times. He's a character, a huge personality, commanded loyalty. Some will say he did run the company with a little bit of fear. But how on earth is WPP going to fill those mighty big shoes?
Well, I think with difficulty is the short answer. Succession is something they've been grappling with for years, best part of a decade, potentially. Yeah. This is not new news in some respects, although it's rather sudden. So, I think that they're going to need someone very special and very talented to come in and manage what is a very complex group with 160 or so companies at a time which is very challenging in the industry. So, big boots to fill.
Big boots to fill and a big job at task, as you said. It's very complex, the structure of this company. But some will say it just got too big. In fact, some are, even shareholders of the company are saying we need to shrink to grow. Will we see sell-offs part of their portfolio?
Yes, we may, and I think the positive here for WPP is, let's not forget, it is the largest advertising agency group globally. It's very healthy still, notwithstanding a couple of years of disappointing results. And they own some great brands. They own Kantar, they own Ogilvy, they own Y&R, they own some great businesses and great brands. So there's certainly options for them to spin off parts of the business. Yeah.
It is interesting, though, his legacy, though, when you look at it, right? It is, I just think we have to highlight that legacy. I mean, he took a company that made plastic shopping bags, basically, or trolleys. He's a man that many listen to, right? Because the WPP is a bellwether for the global economy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. His legacy is huge. I think it's hard to think of another CEO of the last decade or two who's had the same level of impact actually on their industry. As you say, in terms of taking a very small business and turning it into what it is today, but also he's been an incredibly outspoken supporter of British business globally. He's a go-to commentator on the state of British and also global industry.
And just very briefly, the challenge facing traditional advertising agencies is this. If you look at Google and Facebook, they take 20% of the global ad spend, and nowadays many companies go directly to them, don't they? They bypass an ad agency.
They do, and of course they're growing as well. They're taking a bigger and bigger part of the spend, but most spend does still go through the advertising agencies, let's not forget that. So I think it's a huge challenge, but it's one that I think WPP is as well placed as anyone to try and counter over the next few years.
Indeed. Julie Langley from Results International, thanks very much for